Do you assume you have a deep understanding of your number one big names reconsider? I have a hazardous story that includes Jaden Smith, his genius father Will Smith, and in all honesty, the music big shot Diddy, and the last two are not associated by fellowship, but rather by something more goodness enormous yet. I'm not homophobic, and I truly don't mind you understand what I'm talking about I just yet. I'm terrible at the game. And it's presumably clever, hey everybody. And welcome back to Celeb Life Station, as we as a whole know the consistent reports and hypotheses, encompassing Will Smith's sexuality, have influenced the man himself, as well as have purportedly streamed down to his family. Also today, we're zeroing in on his child, Jaden Smith. How has he been impacted? We should investigate. You could recollect an episode where Will Smith chose to show a fatherly warmth to his child during a meeting, yet this wasn't your regular dad-child second. No, this elaborate a kiss on the lips. And obviously Jane was apparently humiliated. This specific occurrence was worked out before the world, adding fuel to the generally copying tales. The outcome hypothesis began spiraling that Jaden may be confounded about his dad's sexuality. Being a teen is already extreme for all intents and purposes. Yet having your dad's sexuality question openly, that is something else entirely. Game. Yet it doesn't stop there. In the midst of this tales began to surface that Jaden was likewise profoundly worried about the connection among Diddy and his father. And let's get straight to the point here. We're not discussing a straightforward companionship. There were murmurs that it was something more, something that appeared to stress Jaden. An insider quote murmured unofficially reports Jaden has strolled in on gatherings between his dad and Diddy. It didn't seem to be only a get up to speed between lifelong companions. These mystery rendezvous between Diddy, their presumed industry watchman, and Will Smith clearly had a quality of closeness that caused a stir, not the sort of closeness you'd anticipate from two companions sharing some Joe yet. Rather the sort that is divided among two individuals with more profound affections for one another. It's supposed that Jaden's been conscious of these clandestine gatherings once as well as a few times. An inside source adds it wasn't only one occasion. It's been going on for some time. Jaden has seen them in these cozy circumstances at least a few times. This is prattle, obviously. Yet it adds one more layer of interest to the previously stewing pot of theory. What makes it more disrupting is the way that Diddy is notable in the business for his supposed associations with the gay local area. Could this imply that the idea of his gatherings with Will Smith goes past dispassionate brotherhood? Quick forward a little, and we hear reports that Jaden Smith began utilizing drugs. Now we can't say without a doubt on the off chance that this is straightforwardly connected to the pressure from his folks' contentions. Yet it makes you wonder, doesn't it? The youthful chap has experienced childhood in the public eye, continually under a microscope, which, as we can all envision, is no simple accomplishment. The steady open consideration, joined with the debates encompassing his folks, could possibly be hindering to Jaden's psychological wellness. One can barely comprehend what it resembles to manage this, while attempting to cut out your own character in a way that would sound natural to Jaden. It's a ton of tension, yet you need to remain consistent with yourself. Once upon a time, Alexis Arquette mixed the pot when she guaranteed, all of a sudden, that both Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, that's right, Hollywood's brilliant couple, are really gay and sexually unbiased. Very much like that, yet as per her, their marriage is just a perfectly tuned disguise. Her cases circulated around the web in a flash, creating all in all a ruckus in a VIP world. Awful marriage for life. To finish it off, our feline tossed in another curve. She pointed a finger at Jada, charging she's the person who turned Will gay. Gracious right. The case was stunning, and to say it raised a ruckus be putting it mildly. Now remember, this was all gossip. No hard proof was offered that might be of some value, as though the discharge wasn't copying. Splendid enough thing about who came in with the gas. Tisha Campbell, the entertainer, jumped in with both feet in 2020. with what many accept was a guileful ramifications that Will Smith had an unsanctioned romance with her ex Dwayne Martin, yet stand by the situation. Starts to get interesting. Tisha posted an obscure message on Instagram that was unraveled by a lot of people as a circuitous hit at. As a matter of fact, Will Smith web investigators got down to business, attempting to sort out what she implied. Yet Tisha stayed quiet, leaving her supporters in anticipation in a fascinating turn. Tisha delivered a video passionately denying her contribution and spreading bits of hearsay were causing any wreck now, she was unyielding, saying, and I quote, "I have no planned motors to add to the clamor. I'm carrying on with my life yet, people." It was her decision to underwrite the word will in her subtitle, that additional layer of interest in theory. And the secret proceeds right up to the present day, regardless of the claims. Tisha never gave any substantial proof to back her cases. Considerably seriously charming, she at no point ever talked about the subject in the future, like a stunner dropped, and afterward, quiet all of us are passed on draping, trusting that the following shoe will drop. When we thought things were settling down, in comes Trisha Paytas. With a flat-out stunner, she claimed that our man Will Smith had gone through a night with one of her male artists, a shock certainly, and the world was snared, holding up with goaded breath to check whether there was any reality to this stunning case. He minded that as you telling I'm similar to definitely I'm prepared and dead. Close to you realize you get welcome to the party with a hello. Is the man crushing it anyway? Peter's sensation was met with suspicion, most eminently from fans who scrutinized the validity of her claims and people. The dramatization was going full bore, Trisha answered, yet not in the manner you'd expect. She didn't precisely stand firm. Rather, she communicated vulnerabilities about her case, leaving us all in a mess. Brief. She's dropping sensations. The following, she's not completely certain what gives Trisha digging further into this tangled story. It gave the idea that the talk depended on just noise, like a round of phone. The gossip appeared to have gone through different stations prior to arriving at Trisha, yet we, as a whole skill, the round of phone works. The last message is many times a long ways from the first. It's estimated that Paytas could have made these cases for consideration. Has no such thing as awful exposure, right? Regardless of whether that is the case, she unquestionably got the web humming, so job well done on that front. Even with the questions and vulnerabilities, Trisha Paytas claims tossed more fuel on the Will Smith gay tales, which were at that point copying splendid. The hypothesis was mounting, and people in general was left in a hurricane of vulnerability about the reality of Paytas cases. Currently, it's critical to take note of that Paytas claims did not depend on private experience. No, it was all gossip, what she'd heard from others. Now we as a whole realize that gossip is presently not the most solid wellspring of data, yet in the realm of VIP tattle, it sure adds a ton of flavor. Okay, so how about we plunge into the profound finish of this tornado of bits of hearsay? Assuming that you think we've proactively stirred things up around town of this reconsider, we've just barely started to expose what's underneath. How about we dig somewhat more profound into Diddy's set of experiences, since he has long secured himself as a gay industry magnate. Now, the primary huge voice in this course of bits of gossip is, as a matter of fact, one of Diddy's ex-guardians. Yes, that is correct, the one who used to be a piece of Diddy's inward circle. This individual professed to have first-hand information about Diddy's confidential life. He didn't stop at proposing, he came right out with it, saying that Diddy had a propensity for tossing what he alluded to as gay gatherings wild. Isn't it my wash the entryway and him, and a man ran out stripped. And I said that ain't no one let me know that I saw that myself, the ex-protector, a man all around familiar with Diddy's way of life, professes to have seen things that would stun the regular person. Presently recall these are only his cases, yet man they are a few weighty charges. And as per him, did his gatherings weren't your run-of-the-mill Hollywood Sawyers. They were more, will we express, selective. Next, the situation starts to get interesting. Evidently, in addition to the Fact that Diddy loved these remarkable gatherings. He was an incredible jovial host. The ex-guardian charges that one night Diddy got rapper display to one of these gatherings. Currently, you're likely considering what's so surprising about that. Well, the joke here is that as per the ex-protector display, wasn't there only for the music. And think about who else was a continuous visitor at these gatherings as per our source. In all honesty, Will Smith himself, that is right as per these reports. The new ruler was a typical sight at Diddy's restrictive social occasions. And afterward there's the story told by Panther Wright, who was once connected with Diddy, chosen to add her voice to the bits of hearsay, relating an occurrence she had heard from an observer. She recounted a story including Diddy and Reek's vocalist Christopher Williams, which on the off chance that genuine would, without a doubt, stop people in their tracks, as per Wright, a legal counselor guarantees that she strolled in on a circumstance where Christopher Williams was performing oral sex on Diddy. She saw Christopher Williams performing proportion on Puff, you heard right. And as per her, did he threaten to life on the off chance that she let the cat out of the bag about what she had seen. Stand by, he said. If I would create a man, I can make individuals do anything for cash. Astonishing, isn't it? From reports about wild gatherings to stunning disclosures by insiders, the plot continues to thicken in this adventure of Will Smith's sexuality. Bits of hearsay. As consistently, I'll keep you refreshed on any new advancements. Recollect, people in the realm of VIP tattle the lines between truth, assuming fiction frequently obscure, so believe everything tentatively, and partake in the exciting ride. We as a whole got our own contemplations on this issue, and as expect.